Sam, and I'm talking today about the moon in Libra. When the moon is in Libra, it brings that quality of the heart that we associate with the moon, that heart that is interested in selfless love and connecting internally to a sense of peace and unity into the area of life, or into a sort of psychology that has to do with compromise with others and yielding our wishes in order to interact with others in an equal way. Those are the qualities of Libra. So this might sound very, sort of, like there's a lot of alignment, but actually Moon in Libra can have, quite a few difficulties because, again, the moon is the part of us that's trying to feel whole and to sort of dissolve the sense of separateness and sense of separate identity. And Libra is actually the sign where we're quite aware of our separate identity, and in fact we need to be, and we're trying to harmonize that separate identity with another person. So if we don't have a lot of discrimination, it can sound like, oh yeah, well, the moon is about love and emotions, and Libra is about, others, and so, it feels good to get along with others and kind of turn it into that, which that's sort of right, but it's also kind of missing the point, especially when you bring in the qualities that make Libra energy fulfilling. Because again, we can mistake the nature of Libra and think that Libra is where we naturally feel good when we please the other person. We feel good when we please the other person as long as we feel like they appreciate it. That's the important part of Libra. Because as soon as we feel like I did this to try to make you happy and you don't reciprocate, you don't appreciate it, you don't return it, you don't notice my sacrifice, or you don't notice what I'm doing, then there's a problem. Then the Libra energy will destabilize the relationship and assert a more Aries principle. Every astrology sign is part of a duality. So it's just as important for Libra energy to have a strong and solid Aries counterpoint. We can't compromise until we're established in ourselves, and until we know that no compromise zone. Otherwise, our compromise is just politics. It's just a bribery. It's just to bribe the other person to like us, usually. That's when people have a lot of planets in Libra. Often that's their tendency, is to please the other person first because they want others to like them. But again, it's a lot, there's a lot of selfishness in that, self-interest. But then they're also constantly evaluating whether or not they're being appreciated for their sacrifice and for their compromise. Believe me, no one can be quite a martyr the way the Libra person can be the martyr. It's a very scorekeeping kind of sign underneath all of the, oh, I'm about balance, harmony, I want everybody to get along, I want there to be harmony. Libra is in many ways, can be the most inharmonious because it's always evaluating, do you appreciate that I'm trying to make you feel good? Do you appreciate that I'm sacrificing my values in order to please you? Do you appreciate what I'm giving up to make you happy? And as long as we do, we're fine to compromise. This is obviously what relationships boil down to, romantic or otherwise, friendships as well. This is why Libra is related to that function, that psychological function. So again, you might say, well, the moon in Libra, wouldn't the moon do really well there? Because the moon is where we, are trying to feel whole and compromise, and are not actually compromise, but feel whole within ourselves. the moon is related to selfless love, not that conditional love. So when the moon is in Libra, this quality of just pure feeling, pure love, the pureness of the heart that has no scorekeeping, that has no sort of cunning, that's not aware of any sort of transaction, that just gives selfless love, like a mother to an innocent child, or the way we are with our pets, where we just want to care for something and just give love with no expectation of feeling respected or appreciated. We do it because it's our nature to want to love something. That's the moon. And so when the moon is in Libra, that feeling of wanting to connect with our deeper self and to feel whole through the heart is in this environment that's always saying, well, I can feel whole as long as I'm appreciated. And so when someone, let's say, the sun and the moon both are planets that are kind of archetypal. They're higher leverage. They're two sattvic planets that actually lead us to things that are just sort of transcendent. The sun is the transcendent power, and the moon is the transcendent love and feeling and connection to the heart, which is in many ways just a complete internal process. Meditation is where we're trying to really connect with the heart in a pure way, not just the emotions. So any sign where the moon is generates emotions, generates those kinds of emotions until we know ourselves and until we calm down the emotions. The moon is the emotional state on the surface, and then underneath it all, it's that peaceful state that's deeper than just the emotions. So in Libra, the emotions that get generated are these kinds of emotions. This wanting to satisfy our desires, wanting to connect them with another person, but also always noticing where things are equal or unequal. And so the heart becomes infused with that sort of principle. And so this winds up being the emotional state that we're trying to calm down and that we're trying to look and feel and, transcend and sink into and go much deeper than. So you'll notice that kind of feeling when the moon goes through Libra, if someone has Libra in their, or if they have the moon in Libra in their natal chart, full moons in Libra, and other times when there's a lot of Libra moon energy, this is what we're really evaluating. And again, the moon is always trying to sink deeper than just the emotions, but moon in Libra generates those kinds of emotions, and it gets the person involved in romantic interaction and seeing how much they're appreciated, which is the Venus principle, as they compromise and try to please the other person.